it's Gail with Forever Grateful Yoga. Thank you for joining me today for this practice. Today's yoga flow is designed to train the serratus anterior muscle that lies deep underneath the scapula and pectoral muscles. So it lies beneath my shoulder blade and it wraps around to the rib cage. And this muscle pulls the scapula forward, which is called protraction of the scapula. So just a little demonstration so you can see. So if the arms are forward, palms facing each other with the thumbs facing up towards the sky, we can retract our shoulder blades into that upper back and then protract. Retraction and protraction. So just to get a feel of that, shoulder blades coming off the upper back, rounding that upper rib cage, and retraction is pulling those shoulder blades, squeezing them together, keeping those elbows nice and straight. So that's where we're headed today. The flow will help to train this serratus anterior muscle and will help to build strength in that upper back region. So we'll get started today coming towards the front of our mats into a child's pose. So the knees can come wide, big toes can touch, palms can come forward, and the third eye can rest on top of either stacked palms, fists, or maybe it comes to the floor. And just taking a few moments here to tune into your breath. Beginning to breathe in and out of the nose. Beginning to gradually lengthen the inhales and the exhales. Beginning to notice the torso filling up with each inhale that you take. And with each exhale, as you empty out completely, the torso begins to soften. Seeking to create long, smooth inhales and equally long, smooth exhales. Seeking to even out both sides of the breath. Matching the length of the inhales with the length of the exhales. And just a few breath cycles here. Taking one more breath cycle here, taking your time. And at the end of that exhale, coming up onto the fingertips and starting to walk those fingers towards the right side of the mat. And the torso rests on top of that right thigh. The left forearm can come down towards the floor. And the cheek can rest softly on top of that left bicep. Pressing through those right fingertips, feeling a nice stretch in the left side body. And a few breath cycles here. And one more breath cycle here. And coming up onto those left fingers, and then starting to walk yourself back to center of your mat, and then the fingers walk over towards the left side of the mat. And the torso can rest on top of that thigh, and that right forearm rests softly on the earth, and the right cheek can snuggle into that right upper arm, pressing through those left fingers, And getting a nice stretch into the right side body. And just taking a few breath cycles here. One more breath cycle here. And then coming up onto those fingertips, walking those fingers back towards the front of the mat, grounding those palms down and coming up into a tabletop. And setting up your foundation here, fingers are spread wide, shoulders over wrists. Knees are under the hips here. Nice neutral spine, the gaze is down towards the floor. Tops of the feet can be flat or the toes can be tucked, whatever suits you today. And we'll just start to rock a little forward and back here. And then rock a little side to side here. And then the heart can come forward to the right, towards the back, and over to the left, just making some full body circles here. Just getting some movement into the wrists here. And then taking those circles in the opposite direction. And then coming to stillness in your tabletop, tops of the feet to the floor, walking those palms in and coming up onto the knees here. Next inhale, we'll open those arms nice and wide. On the exhale, that right arm comes on the top, coming into our eagle arms. And just taking a breath cycle here into the back of the shoulders, a nice big inhale. And a nice big exhale. Next inhale opens those arms nice and wide. On the exhale, that left arm comes on top, coming into our Garudasana arms. Taking a full breath cycle here, a nice big inhale into the back of the shoulders. And a nice big exhale. Next inhale opens those palms wide. Exhale brings those fingers together, clasping them together, forearms together here. And we'll just start to roll out those wrists in one direction. And then start to roll the wrists out in the opposite direction. And then we'll inhale those palms to the sky. Exhale brings those palms forward, stepping back into our plank shape. So setting up our foundation on our plank, our fingers are spread wide here, gaze is down at the floor, reaching out through the heels. One long line of energy from the crown of the head through the heels here. And we'll start our first set of 10 scapular push-ups. Elbows remain straight here. Inhale here, and exhale to retract. Lowering down, arms straight. Inhale comes up to protraction. Exhale lowers. And we have 8 more. Five more. Last one. Coming to press through those palms back to our plank shape. Inhaling here. Exhale brings the heart forward, rolling onto the toes. Bending at the elbows, lowering through chaturanga all the way down to the floor. Tops of the toes flatten. Inhale to our cobra. Exhale, rolling over the toes, coming into our downward facing dog. And first downward facing dog. So just take a minute here just to pedal things out. Maybe pedaling those feet, shimmying those hips, getting what you need. And then coming to stillness, pressing through those palms. Biceps are rolled forward, lengthening the spine, reaching that tailbone down towards the heels as the heels reach down towards the floor. Full breath cycle here, a nice big inhale, and a nice big exhale. End of the exhale, the knees come towards the earth. Widening the knees, big toes can touch, coming into a child's pose. And maybe in this child's pose, you bring your palms, your arms towards the back of the mat. Third eye on the floor. And just a few breath cycles into the back body. And one more breath cycle here. The next inhale, we'll rise up onto our knees. Inhale to reach those fingertips skyward. And exhale to come back down into our tabletop. Next inhale, right arm reaches up to the sky. Exhale, threads that arm through. Coming in to thread the needle here. Coming down onto the right side of the head. Maybe that left arm reaches overhead here. And just taking a few breath cycles here. And one more breath cycle here. The end of your exhale, that left palm slides down towards your face. Right arm reaches up to the sky. And then that palm comes down to the earth, into our tabletop. Next, inhale, that left arm reaches skyward. Exhale, threads that arm through, coming down onto the left side of the head. Right arm can reach right overhead on top of the fingertips. And just taking a few breath cycles here into the side body. One more breath cycle here. End of that exhale, the right palm slides towards the face. Inhaling that left arm skyward and exhale back into our tabletop. From here, we'll step that right foot back, set up your foundation, left foot back, pressing through those palms, fingers spread wide, tailbone reaching down towards your heels, coming into another set of 10 scapular push-ups, starting here with a nice big inhale, pressing through those palms, and exhale to retract. Inhale, protraction, and exhale, retraction. 8 more. Keeping those elbows nice and straight. 4 more. Last one. Pressing through those palms, a nice big inhale here. Exhale, the heart comes forward either through chaturanga or to chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, lifting the hips skyward, downward facing dog. And just move, pedal the feet. Maybe you prefer stillness. A few breath cycles here. And starting to even things out, coming to stillness, taking a full breath cycle here. The end of the exhale, the gaze comes forward, bending the knees up onto the toes, either walk or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale halfway up for Ardha Uttanasana, and exhale to fold, Uttanasana. Inhale presses through the feet, the arms circle wide and reach skyward. And exhale brings hands to heart center. And just taking a moment here to noticing your physical body, noticing your breath. Maybe it's a little faster. Maybe it's a little deeper. Maybe you notice your heart beating beneath your thumbs. We can bring the palms down towards our side, facing forward in our Tadasana shape. Next inhale reaches those palms skyward. Exhale parts the arms, hinging at the hip crease, coming into that forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale plants those hands, hop or step back to your plank. Nice big inhale here. And exhale brings that heart forward, lowering to or through Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or Upward Facing Dog. And exhale to your Downward Facing Dog. One breath cycle here. A nice big inhale. And a nice big exhale. The end of the exhale, we'll come forward into our plank shape for another set of 10 Serratus push-ups, setting up your foundation here. Taking a nice big inhale to press through those palms, and exhale, coming into our retraction. Inhale, protraction, and exhale, retraction. Elbows are straight. 8 more. Two more. Pressing up into our plank shape, a nice big inhale. Exhale brings that heart forward, coming through or to Chaturanga. Inhaling Cobra or Up Dog. And exhaling into our Downward Facing Dog. Full breath cycle here. End of the exhale, coming up onto the toes. Knees come to the earth, big toes to touch. Coming once again into a child's pose. Maybe the fingers face the sky as they reach towards the back of the mat. And the shoulders are heavy here. A few breath cycles into the back of the shoulders. And release any tension or stress that you might be feeling in that area with each exhalation. Just taking a break before our last set. Let's take one more breath cycle here, taking your time. At the end of the exhale, we'll raise our torso up, knees come together. Let's inhale those palms skyward. Exhale, part the arms wide, palms facing towards the sky for a twist to the right. Inhale, come to center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale comes to center, raising those palms skyward. Exhale brings hands to heart center. Inhale reaches fingertips skyward. Exhale brings those palms out in front of you. Stepping once again into our plank shape. And let's do our last set of 10 here. Pressing through the palms. Taking a nice big inhale here. And exhale, keeping the elbows straight. Retraction. Inhale, presses through the palms, rounding that upper back for protraction. And then retraction. And protraction. And 8 more. It's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, getting there, 2, and last one, pressing through those palms, nice big inhale here. Exhale brings that heart forward, lowering all the way, either through chaturanga or to chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. And exhale into your downward facing dog. And take a few breath cycles here. One more breath cycle here. The end of your exhale, coming up onto the toes, lowering those knees to the ground, coming to seated on your heels, and we'll come to sit down. Extending our legs straight out in front of us here, sitting up nice and tall. And let's bring that right foot in, really hugging it in, sitting up nice and tall. Left foot is flexed. We'll hop that right foot over that left thigh. Right palm comes behind your back on the floor. We'll inhale to raise that left arm skyward. Exhale, twist towards the right, either hugging that knee, maybe hooking that knee, and the gaze follows over that right shoulder. And just taking a few breath cycles in this twist. Inhales, find the spine lengthening up towards the sky. And the exhales, maybe finding a little bit more space for this twist. And one more breath cycle here. The end of the exhale, we'll unwind, coming back towards the front. Dropping that foot down, that knee comes wide, maybe moving flush away from sit bones here. That left foot still is flexed. We're sitting up nice and tall. We'll take a nice big inhale here, reaching fingertips skyward. On your exhale, the torso twists a bit towards those right toes, hinging at the hip crease, coming forward any amount. You can use that left palm as a kickstand. Inhales, find that spine lengthening, and the exhale finds you softening into this forward fold. And just a few breath cycles here. And one more breath cycle here, taking your time. Inhale brings us back up to that neutral spine, sliding that right foot out, and then coming to the sole of that left foot, almost using it like a kickstand to really lengthen that spine, nice and big, nice and tall. We'll have that left foot over towards the right, coming to take our left palm behind our back on the floor. We'll inhale to raise that right arm skyward. Exhale, twist towards the left, either hugging that shin, maybe hooking that elbow. And the gaze follows over that left shoulder. Right foot is flexed and active. Inhale, find the spine lengthening up through the crown of the head. And with each exhale, maybe finding a little bit more room for the twist. Just a few breath cycles here. One more breath cycle here. The end of the exhale, unwinding, hopping that left foot back. Sole of the foot is right inside of that right thigh, maybe moving flush away from sit bones here. Sitting up nice and tall once again, this right foot is flexed here. We'll inhale to reach those fingertips skyward. On the exhale, the torso turns a bit towards those right toes as we hinge at that hip crease coming forward any amount. Maybe you reach the toes, maybe you don't. Maybe you have a block there. Inhales, lengthen the spine, and exhales, come into that forward fold. Just a few breath cycles here. And let's take one more breath cycle here. Next inhale brings us up to that neutral spine, coming up towards the top of our mats. And we'll just lower ourselves down onto our backs from here. Coming into a happy baby. Maybe your hands are on your shins here, bringing those knees wide towards the armpits, the outsides of the shoulders. Maybe you can grab the outsides of your feet. And maybe you like to rock in your happy baby. Maybe you prefer stillness. And just take a breath or 2 cycles here. Starting to wind down the practice. It's beginning to soften, beginning to release. And then coming to takes the bottoms of the feet together, the soles of the feet together, and the pinky side of the foot comes to the floor. Coming into our Supta Baddha Konasana, maybe taking cactus arms here, snuggling those shoulder blades in towards each other. A little bit of a tuck to the chin, just extending the base of the skull. And once again, just letting everything soften here. Beginning to let go of the practice. And you're welcome to stay here in your final Shavasana. Maybe extending that right foot towards the right corner of your mat. Left foot towards the left corner of the mat. And the arms extend on either side of the torso with the palms facing skyward. Just finding a shape that you can fully relax in, be fully at ease in. Feeling the body begin to settle. Feeling the whole body relaxed. The muscles, and the bones, and the skin, all relaxing and settling. Just feeling that sense of ease, sense of peacefulness. the entire body begins to relax for a few moments of final silent meditation, your Shavasana. You can begin to awaken your breath, the breath that fills your body with life, with energy. And as the breath washes through, you can begin to make small movements, the fingers, the toes, maybe circling the wrists and the ankles, maybe taking a full body stretch, taking any other movement that might be calling to you in this moment. And eventually the knees come in towards the chest, rolling on to one side or the other. Taking a moment to pause. And then making your way up to a comfortable seat. And the hands can come to heart center and Anjali Mudra, softly bowing your head towards your own heart. And taking a moment to thank yourself for coming to this practice today. And the head comes back to neutral. And as you're feeling your thumbs beating, feeling your heart beating beneath your thumbs, may you live your lives with compassion. The thumbs come towards the lips. May you speak only words of kindness. And thumbs come to third eye. May you see beauty in all things. Namaste. And thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today.